Hey Saucies, so I just wanted to get on here really quickly and address this content creator right here, Miss Lady Boule. She's an older lady who is also a AKA sorority member. She's makes pretty good videos most of the time, but some of them really kind of irk me a little. She talks about a lot of issues that affect the African American community, and a lot of times she does make a lot of good valid points, and other times she kind of like has that same old school way of thinking where everything is packaged or delivered in her talking points as a conspiracy theory. She uses a lot of words like they, or they are trying to push, or they are trying to make us, or they are trying to make it look like. She uses phrases like that a lot, so she packages a lot of her talking points in a way where it makes it seem like there's a big conspiracy theory against African Americans. And she has made several videos that seem to have a lot of smoke for the Caribbeans and the Africans. And she made one video that was entitled, "What Have the Africans Done?" Or I'm sorry, "What have Africans and the Caribbeans done to make the world a better place?" In this video, she was speaking on the culture wars between Black Americans, the Caribbeans, and the Africans. And she does a lot of videos where she points out different things about those communities, the African community and the Caribbean community, that are not really a good look. And she talks about it as if to say, well, you guys think you're better than the African Americans. Well, look, I see you guys are doing this, or I see you guys are doing that. So in this video in particular, she starts talking about African people and Caribbeans, and then she asked the question, what have they done to make the world a better place? And then she brought up, well, Caribbeans are known for reggae music and drinking rum, or something like that. That's the kind of statement that she made. But it was kind of passive aggressive and a little xenophobic. I think she comes off a little xenophobic, in my opinion. But then she went on to name off the contributions of African Americans. And don't get me wrong, look, I'm a monoracial Black woman. I am very light-skinned, of course. I've mentioned that before a couple times in my videos. So yes, Black Americans have definitely made a lot of contributions to the rest of the world, and they were excellent contributions. Nobody's taking anything away from that. But to ask a question, what have the Africans and Caribbeans done? As if the Africans in particular have not been fighting neocolonialism for the last 500 plus years. And the reason why African Americans have it so well is because our country, the United States, is playing a huge role in the neocolonialism that they are fighting against. How about the computer that you're using and the phone that you're using to disparage the African people? The materials that you're in your phone are extracted from the Congo and are extracted from different parts of Africa. The diamonds that you wear, the gold that you wear, and all of the modern day conveniences that you have and that you are afforded is because the United States, the country you live in, is engaging in unfair neocolonialism and unfair practices that are basically stripping the materials from the African continent and using those materials to provide modern day conveniences for African Americans over here. And it seems funny to me that a lot of African Americans, especially a lady of this particular age, would use a little bit more grace, seeing that is what is going on over in that continent. And I would also think that she would have the maturity to understand too that just because one African or one Caribbean person or one person from that community speaks against Black Americans, that is not reflective of the entire Caribbean community or the entire African community. That is those individuals, and you have to take up your gripes with that one individual. You can't just direct insults to the entire continent of Africa. There's one piece of foreign policy that I don't believe that African Americans are aware of, and I did go over this in another video, but I'll go over it again. Muammar Gaddafi, I believe that's how you say his name, the former president of Libya, he came up with an African currency to break away from neocolonialism and break away from the French. Prior to that, they were on the French franc. The franc is the French currency they were using. Behind the French's back Gaddafi was going to create an African currency, probably for the whole continent, if not the whole continent, just Libya. And they were going to use that currency to engage in international trade and enrich Libya while at the same time breaking away from French neocolonialism. However, Hillary Clinton, who was President Obama's Secretary of State at the time, alerted the French about the African currency, and then the French government went over there to Libya and killed Gaddafi and started to rape and pillage and just indiscriminately shoot the citizens of Libya. The Libyan citizens had to flee, so they jumped in those rickety, raggedy little rafts, 100 people, 50 people, 100 people or something like that, to a raft, and they were trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea in those rafts, trying to get away from the French. They were intercepted by large trafficking ships, and the traffickers allowed them on board of their ships and told them, the citizens said they were trying to make it to Italy. And then the traffickers said, sure, we'll take you to Italy. However, your boarding my ship comes with a price. So you have to pay me for the privilege of riding on my ship. So they took them to, they trafficked these people. That's how they became slaves, sex slaves in a different part of the world. The articles on Google do not tell where these people were taken. They're trying to basically say that Nigerian traffickers, sub-Saharan traffickers from Niger are responsible for imprisoning these people. But I just wanted to illustrate the point that Black Americans are privileged at the expense of African suffering. And the question is, and it's so funny because this content creator in particular, in order to learn or to illustrate the contributions that Black Americans have made, she had to reach back to 1960, whenever black and white photos, when the first of this and the first of that was created or was developed or invented, completely negating the fact that Black Americans, even though there are trillions of dollars that pass through African American hands, very little of it is used to build. Black Americans are mostly consumers, so we have no wealth. It's a lot of financial illiteracy in the Black community and a lot of misspent funds, mismanaged funds, and we just have no wealth. And that is the reason why we don't build anything. We don't contribute anything but consumerism, and we can't even wield that power correctly. So I just thought this video was very unnecessary, especially considering the fact that Black Americans always talk about how they have no friends, there's no unity, and a lot of times you think that people of a certain age would understand that the words you say matter. The word you use can be damaging and very hurtful, and you're causing more harm than you are causing good with this whole tit for tat. And I think that our content should be used in a way to where we turn down the temperature, because America is not always going to be on top. Because the last time I checked, the Africans prefer to partner with the Chinese and the Russians over the United States because they have better diplomatic practices. They're more considerate of the African concerns, and more they're willing to pay the fair market value for the materials that they extract and that they use and that they export. So Black Americans are sitting in a very privileged position, the most privileged group in the entire African diaspora. And I think due to that, a lot of people from those communities used to look up to us. But here lately, with the emergence of social media, a lot of people are putting their opinions on display that probably shouldn't be putting those kinds of opinions out there, because outside of the other African communities in the diaspora, Black Americans really don't have any friends. They're falling out with everybody, even within their own community. And as a Black American, you really have to ask yourself, when the American dollar falls and everything takes a turn for the worse because Russia and China are the enemies of the United States, what will we do then? Who will we turn to? Black Americans are not even accustomed to real suffering like that. Not this modern generations, not Gen X, not Gen Z, not the baby boomers, not the kind of suffering our ancestors were subjected to, or others in the diaspora. We do have it better than other blacks in the diaspora, and we have it better for a reason. There's a reason why we have it better, because the country you live in is engaging in all different kinds of crooked practices throughout the world. So like I said, this video was very unnecessary, and I think that we need to use love, because this content creator says we need to love each other at the beginning of her videos, and I think she needs to put that phrase into practice and try to uplift those people who are part of the diaspora, so that when African Americans need a helping hand, there will be people there waiting and willing to help us, or to at least fellowship with us. But at the rate that we're going now, I really think that that's becoming less and less of a reality, and that's a shame. So thank you for listening. That's my rant for today. Please do not hesitate to email me with your story times. I will feature them on the channel at exoticalsauce@gmail.com. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next time.